Hello, and welcome to my podcast, The Richness of. The Richness of our podcast is going to basically be showing us, I need to start again, sorry. I was not ready.
You just want to start on camera one? Because I think that jib was pretty good. We could just have her start. Okay. Yeah, you're good to go whenever. You're starting on this camera.
Okay.
Just get right into it.
Hello, and welcome to my new podcast, the visual podcast on the richness of. The richness of is going to be something that I want to bring to you. I feel that in life there's so many different perspectives and ways to look at things. So my goal is to help enrich the beauty of your life by bringing great guests on that can help us look at new perspectives on many different things. So my goal is, again, to have like the richness of exercise and movement. Having someone like my instructor, Dana Brown, on to talk about, again, the importance of moving and what it does to our bodies and also for our mental health. I'm hoping to have on a friend of mine who does a lot about networking, right? So we'll have the richness of networking. How do we get out there and meet new people and socialize and bring ourselves to these events and show up as our best selves? We'll also do things like the richness of nutrition and have someone, again, talking about maybe plant-based eating and healthy eating, organic versus not organic, and plastic versus not plastic. Hoping to have a friend on that represents a wine company that essentially creates wines that are low in sugar and no sulfite. So again, interesting perspective on how can we, enjoy our wine, but have it be something healthy for us. So thank you for joining me. I am so looking forward to creating one of the best lifestyle podcasts for you. Something that'll bring you new perspective, new meaning, new richness to your life. I'm Sylvia Guinan, and I am a financial advisor. I am an author. I've written a book called The Richness of Divorce, which is available on Amazon, and that's 7 steps to unwinding your marriage with love and grace. And more importantly, and really meaningful, I am the mother of 3 teens. So we may even have to do a show on the richness of raising teens for those of us that have children. It's definitely something I think that we can all benefit from. So thank you for joining us. Really looking forward to getting started. My email will be available at the end. If you have suggestions or something that you want to learn about or get more connected to, I am really looking forward to hearing again what you would like to see and bringing on guests that are going to be in line with what you think. One of the things that I really want to also focus on, through the richness of podcast is empowering you to have a different perspective. And I want us all to understand that we are not our thoughts. We are the thinker of our thoughts. And so many times, we look at something in one way and we can focus on perhaps, what's not working or what's scary or what we can't do. And again, I think so many instances that we just shift the way we think, we can create something a little bit more positive for ourselves. So fascinated about thinking about how much more power that we have than we even know, I think so many times we feel like when something occurs, and maybe it's not the ideal, or something's, not the way we want it to be in our lives, so many times we say, oh, well, why is this happening to me? And I think if we can change that word to why is this happening for me, it just kind of changes the whole scenario. And I'm a big believer that in many instances when we have challenges, that is the opportunity for us to just grow and change and evolve. True, it's messy. It could be scary. It could be uncomfortable. But again, through those experiences, I think is really when we grow and thrive. So as we're navigating life, right, when things are flowing smoothly and everything's going well, I mean, it's lovely, we're enjoying that, and it's really nice to be in that groove. But the reality is we're really not changing, we're not growing, we're not evolving, we're just enjoying. And I think if we can learn, right, that when things are not ideal or we get some interesting, maybe not happy things that happen, maybe scary, I think that again, if we can look at it as not for me or why is this happening to me, but again, change that focus to what is this happening for me. And, you know, I think if we stop and we look and think about our lives, you know, every time we experience something difficult or something painful, once we hang on and we navigate through that uncomfortableness, usually a completely other different door, something different opens, something changes, something shifts. So again, part of the platform for this podcast is, right, just to bring different experts in so we can learn, right, how to use tools in different parts of our lives, right, to navigate through. Because, you know, I often say to my children too, you know, when we look at people and we see things, you know, everything always seems like, oh, wow, well, their lives seem so easy and smooth and comfortable. And I think everybody has their story though, right? We all have things that we experience, that we go through. And I always encourage my kids too, when they see someone that they admire or they think is successful or they enjoy, you know, their business venture that they created, I always encourage them to ask the story, ask them to share their story, because it's fascinating. You know, we hear so many interesting things when we ask people about their journey, and I think that the common denominator, right, is no one's had it easy. Like the journey has been just that, right? There's roads, there's divots in the road, there's, you know, different winding, twisting turns that occur. And again, I think that part of getting to that next level, part of the happiness, the peace in the journey is navigating through the difficult times. And I think that in order to navigate, right, some of these difficult times, it's so important for us to have tools, right, in our toolbox to pull out. And that's really the goal, I think, for the Richness of podcast, is bringing different experts on, different tools, teaching us different perspectives, different things that we can use. So as we're navigating and drifting through life, we can kind of utilize these things. Because the one thing, right, that is certain about life is that there is no certainty. There's always going to be changes and shifts and things that happen. But I think that the key is, right, is to prepare ourselves, right? So have tools that we can use as we're navigating good and difficult situations. And two, one of the things that I also want to focus on is, I read a quote that I thought was just so fascinating, and it talked about some of the biggest struggles that we have in life, we create for ourselves, and we create it through resistance, right? So when we resist, when something's happening, we're just making that situation a little bit more difficult, right? A little bit harder. And so the quote said something like, you know, again, the biggest pain we experience is that holding on, that resistance. If we let go and we learn to flow, because when we're going through change, we're going to have to go through it anyway. But when we surrender and we kind of let go, right, that's when the peacefulness, the ease kind of comes in, and we ultimately, right, we will end up where we need to end up, particularly, right, if we are open to looking to the opportunities. Dr. Wayne Dwyer had a quote that I actually, I believe I've had it in my book. I have brochures out that have the quote, because I think it's really interesting. And it's something like, if you look for the opportunities, you will find them. If you look for the obstacles, you will find them. And again, it leads back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, right? It's all about how we want to shift our mind and how we want to see situations, right? So again, knowing that we have more power and more control over what's happening in our days than we think, right? So it's sometimes, again, when something occurs, if you look at it and say, oh, wow, well, I didn't need this today, this is not what I wanted, or I'm not happy with the way I look, that's what you're going to see, right, throughout the day. And I think if we shift and say, okay, well, that wasn't ideal, right, but how can I find the opportunity here? Like, what do I need to do, right, to get to a better place, right? Or why is, what I wanted not working? But again, where are there other opportunities or other ways to navigate the situation? So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I'm really looking forward, like I said, to bringing some great experts on and leaders in their field that can, again, help us with the richness of, because my goal is for us all to have different perspectives and to look for richnesses and opportunities in our life as we navigate good and challenging situations. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.